Hi, welcome. This is Dr. John DeMartini. This is one of the most amazing and inspiring shows that you can listen into. If you want to be on the edge of your seats, if you want to open up your heart, if you want to expand your mind, and you want to meet incredible people, stay tuned because you're just about to experience a transformative radio show that will change your life. And you're listening to the Dr. Pat Show that's coming up right next.
Welcome to the Dr. Pat Show. Talk radio to thrive by. Powerful, inspiring, and coming to you live, bringing you stories of people like you and me, busting through and living life full out. Get ready to dare to wonder what your life would be like if you knew you could not fail.
Hey, everybody, welcome. I told you this morning that we would be back at 11, and boy, do we have a great show for all of you. Not only that, I love the spirit of Pay It Forward, which has been part of our history with the Dr. Pat Show. But even before it was like the Dr. Pat Show, it was like crust busting your way to an awesome life. And for whatever reason, back in the day, in 2003, starting out with my first show, I just started to give away books, pay things forward. This is something we do on the network. This is what our hosts do. This is what you're going to hear today from fabulous host on our show platform. We're going to talk about Waking Hope with my very special guest, Christine Vibrant. But more than that is what she is. And what I want to say about it is that I had a reflection this morning. Well, actually, it was really early this morning. So I'm not sure if it was the morning or like the night, but it was like in that zone where you're supposed to be sleeping. And the epiphany that I had as I think about, and I thought about my day today, was how truly blessed I am or feel about my life, but how blessed all of us here are that we can present people like Christine to all of you. You know, this is a woman that is a South African native, lived and worked all around the world, continuing education, foreign countries, you know, stepping out in the world, an accredited coach, right? A life and health coach, all of those things. And even beyond that, understands that when life hits you, you have to understand the root cause. When you're hit like that, you then are at a crossroads. You're at this place where you say to yourself, wow, now that I've understood it, now that I've got it, I wonder if I could share this and help people. That's what she is doing. That's what she has done. The first thing out of the gate is, what does this mean? Better me empowered life. What does that mean? Better me empowered life. You're going to hear about that today. We have a special holiday version of this because, yes, I cannot believe it. Like in my neighborhood already, the lights for Christmas are up. I had to pinch myself to figure out what month I was in because people want to get in the spirit. Today, I want to just tell you, 1-800-930-2819. Write that number down because Christine is showing up to Pay It Forward. You're going to hear about all of that. First caller will receive a 1-hour free session. 1-800-930-2819. It is a gift, and you're going to hear why. Christine, I'm telling you, so great to have you. I mean, this is not our first rodeo together. I've had the honor of working with you, just watching you shine. Man, so great to have you here.
Thank you, Dr. Pat. I am absolutely thrilled. And, you know, just to touch on the Better Me Empowered Life, just for a second, I kind of put on a little fun dress today because I'm down here in Brownsville, Texas. We're really close to the border with Mexico, and we're celebrating Dia de las Muertas. And of course, you can see Frida behind me and our beautiful Holly Golightly. We're having a great day. What I want my listeners, our listeners to understand is right now, as you're seeing me vibrant, and I'm happy and I'm excited to be here, I'm also navigating a fibromyalgia attack, which kind of knocked me down this weekend. But this is the Better Me Empowered Life. Yeah. It's knowing, okay, something is a bit wobbly, but I have what I need. Yeah. And so I stepped into my self-care, stepped into that wonderful accessing of spirit that really does connect us with divine and with our earth. and gives us what we need to step into this. And I'm excited to gift this 1 hour session because, Dr. Pat, I have to tell you, the privilege of coaching to me, I sometimes feel as if I'm cheating, because when people work with me, they think I'm going to give them a checklist, but what I really give them is space, just space. Everybody knows what it is they need. They really do. But it's that person who's going to give them permission to step into that version of themselves, maybe wobbly, maybe kicking and screaming, maybe going, ah, but you know what? We're going to do it anyway because we love ourselves enough.
I'm glad you brought that up. Thank you so much for really walking through that, because this is what I love about this. I get asked this question a lot. And, I'm actually going to be doing a show with an old friend of mine, Dr. Ronnie DeLuz. And, I have watched her go through incredible success and just trauma and catastrophe, her wellness center burning down, the whole thing, right? But what you're doing, and I love what you just did, is the reality is you and I are people. We're human beings. And, sometimes as a human being, I have to keep myself in check, whether it's mental, emotion, spiritual, I have to do that. But the other part of it is we're not exempt from the bodies that we carry having a hissy fit sometimes. The difference between then and what I know now is there are tools. That's what you're going to share today, isn't it?
This is it. The tools. And as you mentioned, my world journey, this is definitely what I've learned is often when we've had trauma that we don't even recognize as trauma, we're so accustomed to this way of being that we forget that, as you said, we're human beings. And from around the world, there are healing modalities accessible to us if we just give ourselves permission. And going around the world has really opened up my eyes to that. Being a South African, as you can see, I may not match. And when I was living in New York, I had the best time kind of playing practical jokes and talking about, my elephant that took me everywhere, my pet lion. But what I really wanted to do, Dr. Pat, is go around and find out why my country had undergone that trauma, how we could heal, what Mandela talked about, the Rainbow Nation. And I found a rainbow world.
Yeah.
And it's really the more different we are, the more we're the same. And I've gone around the world and found nothing but love and healing capacity that if you just take that step, your world opens up in ways you cannot imagine.
What I love about this is, I love the whole rainbow world. I mean, how bold of a statement, how bold of an idea, how bold of a concept. And from what? A man that suffered beyond what any of us can imagine suffering. But you see, this is the thing where I think in his case, pain was inevitable. Suffering, he made it optional. He's like, this is where I am, but I am in the middle of hope. As you're saying today, waking hope is really where we are now. And it doesn't mean we're going to dismiss like the hardship that he went through in his family, nor are we going to dismiss the past 3 years like everybody would like us to forget. Yes. What you're doing is saying, you know what? We did that. But here's what we can do, move forward. Isn't that what we're talking about today with Better Me Empowered Life?
This is exactly it. And this is the thing, as you said, waking hope. It's waking hope. It's not staying in hope.
Yeah.
It's not lingering in hope. It's not bathing and luxuriating. It's waking it up so that you can look at everything that you are. Something I learned through my health journey is whatever you're facing and navigating didn't start with you. Epigenetic trauma can come from 2 to 3 to 4 to 5 to 6 to 7 generations from before. But when you are aware that something is not right, it is your responsibility to do the best that you can with what you have in the time that you're given to heal that, to wake up that hope of, I can step into this. I can step into this version of me. There are helpers around the world. And just as Eckhart Tolle said, suffering is necessary until it's not. And we are in a moment of looking around going, hold on, we're still in COVID. We're still facing restrictions. We're still getting bad news around the world. And people are reacting to it instead of acting on it.
Yeah.
And Dr. Pat, there's more dark matter in the world and the universe than light. So we have so much material to work with that we don't even know.
Yeah.
I don't know what I don't know, but I know that.
I love that we're talking about this because what I love is I've been using that expression. You know, somebody asked me in an interview, what's my greatest asset? And I said, ignorance. I said, I have to tell you, I was a slow learner. There are a lot of things I was ignorant about. And I had to make it clear because the host jumped in and said, ignorant. I said, wait a minute, let's just understand the difference between the two words, ignorance and stupidity. They're not the same. I said, there's something about not knowing. That's what ignorance reflects. But once you have an experience, each of us has to determine what are we going to do with it. Let's talk illness for a moment, because it is so difficult. And I hope you can explain this. You and I share a healing path.
We do.
I have been successful at so much in my life, and I have failed at so much. But it wasn't until 2004 when my body completely broke down. Never had that experience. What I didn't know until later on was the power of self-love. That's what we're talking about today.
This is it.
Right?
This is it. This is absolutely it. Self-love. We know about Louise Hay. We know Louise Hay healed herself from cancer. Yeah. And self-love is the key. I'm reading a wonderful book by Carolyn Myss, and we're going through the 7 stages of healing.
Oh, yeah.
And your heart chakra. You know, I grew up in a small town in South Africa in a Baptist church. If I mentioned chakras back there, oh boy, no. It was no. So it took me a long time, and living in different places and hearing different ways of being, given lovingly. And that's the permission. It's stepping into going, I'm a human being, made of this earth. Nothing human can be alien to me. Whoever is giving me this love, I need to accept it to myself. Self-love, looking at yourself in the mirror, no matter what your hair is doing. And I always do this in the morning, Dr. Pat, to prove to myself I really love myself. That first time when you wake up and who knows what you've done in your sleep, and it's the Einstein hair and everything is smeared, and I go to the mirror and I say, you are amazing. I love you. I love every step you've taken. I love every battle you have fought, because it's truth. When you're facing chronic illness and you've been healthy and you've done everything you can to keep healthy, because I've had my own family's example of ill health. I mean, my mother passed away on my 15th birthday after years of surgery, after years of looking and going and doing everything, and even a faith healing. We healed what she knew about, but you can't heal what you don't reveal. And so this is that step of self-love, is going, okay, I don't know everything. I have to find this out.
Yeah.
Gotta face yourself.
Oh my God. I want to take a short break, but I only want to talk about this with you because there's so much underneath this. For example, we're going to get to this when we come back. Mm-hmm. What I didn't understand is the journey of people that become, for lack of a better word, chronically ill. Did you know that the percentage of the people that get divorced, out of the divorced people, there is a percentage of people that get divorced because one or the other has had a diagnosis and they are like, I did not sign up for that. So beyond this, we need to come back and talk about what is resistance? What is this dense feedback that Christine talks about? And for those of you out there, a very special giveaway. And it really is special. All of you, 1-800-930-2819, the first caller, or Jacob, if you're monitoring social media, the first caller will receive a 1 hour free session. And the reason this is so important is this is Christine gifting to you all, not just talking about what she's going to do, but to paying it forward. Jacob, let's take a short break. When we come back, mindfulness, meditation, journaling, resistance, and dense feedback. Oh my, we'll be right back. Jacob, thank you so much. Welcome back, everybody. Christine Vibrant. Okay, 1-800-930-2819. Jacob's also going to post this on social media for you. Those of you that tell me you're so like into like the okay, I'm not going to get this right. The phone and the phone app, and you do everything from the phone, and we're well aware of that, but please call us. I want to stop for a minute. Look, what we're about to talk about is something you've experienced, but now it's your gift you give to the world. This session, right, is just a snapshot of what you do. How do people find out more about you? Tell them about your show. Tell them about how they work with you. Come on.
Well, if you want to find out more about me, and thank you so much for this, because this is the thing, we're getting into a time of the year when a lot of people are going to be waking up that resistance. And instead, we want to be waking up hope. When the resistance comes along, it's like, how do you navigate it in such a way that it is proactive, that it gifts you, that it builds you up, that your pain turns into your power? Go to my website, first of all, www.beingbetterme.com, and you're going to see a whole range of items for you to read about. I've got client downloads that are free for you to try and find out, like elevate your life. If you're not ready for coaching, that's okay. Not everybody is. But if you're ready to step into the Better Me empowered version of yourself, I have the tools for you to start that journey. Yeah. You can also go onto my socials. My Facebook is Being Better Me LLC. Instagram is at endo.coach.christine. So that's ENDO for endometriosis, endo.coach.christine, CHRASTINE. And my Twitter is Endomitable1. Again, ENDO for endometriosis, because endometriosis, while it has felt like a curse, has actually been my greatest blessing.
Yeah, I got to tell you, look, we do not share the same disease, but I got to tell you, and I've never really talked about this on air, I'm very shy about it. And when I was sick for 10 years, the only thing that saved my life was my show. And the audience didn't know until my cells stopped working and my body blew up like a balloon. And so for me, I became a chronic Lyme disease advocate. I had what you called, in 2004, my body snapped overnight. And I had what they referred to as a stage 4 version of every, Dr. Darvish treated me for every co-infection on the planet, but that's another show, because it's all related though. Whether it's endometriosis or whether it's Lyme disease or whether it's a whooping cough, it doesn't matter. When your body starts to break down, you must know how to navigate the resistance and the dense feedback. You must know how to take your life back. Let's talk about this. What does that mean in the journey of wellness?
In the journey of wellness, well, Dr. Pat, I'm going to go a little bit off script here just because it's come to me. I shouldn't have put it on.
No, go on.
So when we're looking at our lives, this is the first thing we see, the physical body. And it's very easy to work with. You can see the results pretty much right away when you're working out and when you stop. We have medicine as an attempt to explain what these functions are. Now, medicine is advanced, it saves lives, but they're still learning a lot of it. For example, myofascial release is a wonderful, wonderful pain relief tool. It can save you from having surgery. They're also learning all kinds of things about the fascia. And in fact, all of your chakras, there are fascia bands aligned with it. So the spirituality and the physicality is coming together. For mental health, we've got psychology, we've got therapists, we've got these wonderful mental health tools and techniques to help us to understand what it is we're navigating, how to get to the root cause, and how to release the stuckness and the self-sabotage, the sneaky self-sabotage that gets in the way of our self-care and navigating that. But what is spirituality? Spirituality is understanding that who we are is so much more than one or two items, but that who we are also comes from our ancestors. Now, this is the physical part that fascinated me in my journey with endometriosis. And Dr. Pat, this is something a lot of listeners need to understand. When your grandmother was pregnant with your mother had all the eggs she was ever going to have in her little fetal body. You were a genetic possibility inside your mother within your grandmother. Do you not think that everything that she passed down to you extended to so much more?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. You're so right. And this is one of the topics we don't talk enough about, because we try to understand things that come to us through pain.
Yes.
And we have to understand how to allow them through pain, how to allow them through whatever the mental pain is, the spiritual pain, right? Spiritual malady, I know a lot about it.
Mm-hmm.
But what you just shared is so important because at the surface, we take a look at our history and our family,
Mm-hmm.
and it's almost unidimensional. It's almost one dimension. What you're bringing is my mother had a body, a soul, a spirit, a
Mm-hmm.
mind. My grandmother did.
Yes.
And boy, if we don't figure out how to cut through all of the stories, all of the resentment, how are we going to get the message?
This is where the meditation and the journaling comes in with the mindfulness. This is where the sitting with your feelings, but not staying in your feelings, steps in.
Yeah.
Your feelings are data, not fact.
Yeah. I love this. Okay, let's talk. I want to talk about this now because look, 2003, I was not who you're looking at today. I had some essence of spirituality from being a very young child. As a matter of fact, I got kicked out of Catholic boarding school at age 6 because Jesus actually talked to me and I wouldn't tell them that Jesus didn't. And back then, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, but here we are today. And it wasn't until April of 2004 that the reality of what I had to do to grow and expand and happen to do it with the best audience on the planet. But let's talk about this. Mindfulness meditation, journaling, and many other tools, whatever the spiritual practice is. I mean, I just realized sitting in a very different room than I sit in. This is my special room. And I just realized my little smudge bowl's hanging out back there. We have to try it on for ourselves. Where do you begin with people and helping them try it on?
Well, this is the first part of it, is getting in touch with who they are. And this is where the consultation to me is the magic. A lot of people are going to assume with a consultation that, again, it's a checklist. What do you want? Where are we going to go? How are we going to fit this in? But I hold this person in prayer and meditation when I'm sitting with my spirit, when I'm sitting with my higher self, and I have my guides. And it took me a long time to really trust them. But this is the thing I do. I sit with this person, keeping space for them, expanding my space for them, making sure that when they speak, everything that they are needing to say, I hear. And that is where we work, especially because for some people, I can talk about chakras, I can talk about everything that's spiritual, and they're on it. They're there. We're talking about manifesting, about getting in touch with everything. And for some people, making sure that they're hydrated is the first step. Because if you are dehydrated, how is anything going to work? How are you going to get message even from your body, let alone spirit?
Yeah. I mean, and that's really what we're talking about. I want to also just go back for a second on one of the things that we were looking at before. And I want to get back to how this fits in with self-care, self-love, and really pinpoint why this holiday season, for me, more than ever, we have to understand what it means to take care of yourself first. Because you want to talk to that. I'm really clear that I could pinpoint to the day that I got sick. I could pinpoint to where my personal life was. And I will tell you, I was not putting myself first.
This is it. Self-care, self-love, especially for women. Self-love is going to be the number one root cause because we weren't taught it. We weren't taught it. We weren't accessed. We were taught to give and to self-sacrifice and to put ourselves last. But here's the thing. And I'm having Reiki lessons with Bettina, my guest from before. When you practice Reiki, one of the first things you practice is filling yourself up. And whatever flows over is what you share. You've got to share the overflow of who you are, not the fill of who you are. Because if you're empty, like you felt with that disease, when everything just crashes, most people cannot handle chronic illness. You're still sick. You're still tired. What do you mean you're still tired? Why aren't you better? And it's not their fault. There is no example for how to navigate this. Not really. Not within 90 minutes, you know, this is like a 90-minute movie and everything works out great and everyone's happy ever after. But the reality is it's going to be a journey of self-discovery. But you are so worth it. And you learn how loving yourself, getting in touch. You're the one you're spending the rest of your life with after all.
Yeah. I mean, isn't that the aha moment though? I mean, isn't that when we're thinking about this? And this is one of the toughest things to do because we're going to talk about this for the rest of the show. But the most important thing, though, that I want to bring up is, here we are in the space of this, and we have a caller. Barbara, we will get right to you, promise. And Jacob, would you make sure you get Barbara's information so we can gift her the free session? One of the things that, we're going to cover through this show is people roll their eyes when you say self-love. So what I've learned in this arena is what we're going to talk about next. There are 1,001 ways to treat yourself better. Better me. Empowered, right? Because if you take a better me without empowered, you're missing something. Better me is great. But empowered means you are willing to take an action, to take a step, to do something, and to do something that may be out of your comfort zone. And I'm telling you, I have coached more women where my first assignment to them is go get a manicure and a pedicure. And I got to tell you, it takes some of them a day and some of them 6 months.
Yes.
We're going to take a short break. Barbara, we're going to get right to you in a minute. When we come back, we're going to be talking about, I'm going to put it in my words, and Christine can help. If you're not going to put yourself first, who will? Let's take a short break. Jacob, Christine, when we come back, we'll go right to the phones. We'll give out lots of information. We'll be right back, everyone. Hey, everybody, welcome back. You're tuning into a great show. Thank you for joining me, Dr. Pat. We're talking about Waking Hope with my very special guest, Christine Vibrant. Before we dig into, I'm going to call it the status of self-care and self-love, or self-care as self-love. And before we go to the phones, we're going to go right to the phones. Christine, one more time, tell everybody about the website, and then we're going to go right to the phones.
Okay, perfect. If you want to know more, and I really hope you do, and get some free client downloads, head over to www.beingbetterme.com. Facebook is Being Better Me LLC, and endo.coach.christine on Instagram.
Cool. Jacob, who do we have wanting to join us here? Barbara?
Yeah, we've got Barbara calling in from Florida. Hi there, Barbara.
Hi, Barbara.
Hi, Barbara.
Hi there. How are you?
Hey, good. How are you doing today?
Hello,
Thanks for calling in. Yeah, we can hear you.
I am good. I just want to mention that I have had the benefit of taking Christine's life coaching course. And after 10 years of therapy, 11 years of Al-Anon, lots of self-help, that course has inspired me to do so much better for myself than I've had in all those years of additional therapy. And the one thing I want to emphasize is that you have to be willing to love who you are. Whatever your shortcomings are, just love them. Just accept them. And you can go a long way for just being the best that you can be. And I got that from Christine, and I am so grateful to her for all of the work that she has put into this, because it has actually changed my life. And I no longer have the down days. And if I do start to linger towards having the poor me day, I utilize all the tools: meditation, walking, singing, dancing in my dining room. And you just have to do it. And nothing changes if nothing changes. That's the bottom line.
This is the truth. You got it, Barbara.
Barbara, let me ask you a question if I could.
Sure.
One of the things that we're talking about today, which I find has also been part of my journey, is we tend to not put ourselves first. We tend to really think we can do it all. What point did you have to get to where you decided, I really need to step into a more fully empowered life?
I think getting back into journaling, getting back into letting things truly go. You know, we can always say, yeah, oh, I let that go. I went to therapy. I've taken care of that. But in reality, we really don't, because the situation may come up where it may remind you of something, or a smell may remind you of something that was unpleasant. So you have to kind of go around that and unleash all the layers, you know? And the bottom line is, you have to love who you are. If you don't love yourself, you're not going to love anybody else.
Yeah. If there was one word, and I don't want to keep you, Barbara, I want to thank you, but I want to still ask you this question. If you had a personal message for the people hearing this today, what would that be from you?
To trust yourself. Trust yourself to give the best of yourself to you. And that's the best message I can give.
Barbara, thank you so much. Oh my gosh, thank you so much.
Okay.
Thank you. You bet. Thank you.
You're very welcome.
Wow.
You have a great day. Thank you.
You too. You bet. Nothing is more powerful than having somebody come in and talk about what their experience is. And that's what I love about this. But it's also part of you creating something from your own journey. So that's really what I talked about earlier, is that you and I are here and we're doing the things we're doing and the way we're doing them because we had an experience. Some people call it a setback, a disease, whatever you want to call it. We had something that we never had before, and we had to figure it out. And what you're sharing now with the world and what you do in your work is not just about talking about it. You take, like Barbara, you walk people through it. What a great acknowledgement that was. What do you make of that there, Christine?
That, Barbara has blessed my life since I've met her, and we were coworkers in retail. So we've really seen some of the humanity at this holiday season, and we have nothing but love for the people that we meet. Barbara's got her own amazing story. I'm encouraging her to continue writing her book. I know you're listening. You need to continue writing that book, Barbara. But this is the thing, Dr. Pat, self-love can feel like discomfort on the next level. Me being live on global streaming platform with you, there's a 15-year-old version of me right now who is terrified of what I'm doing, because at the age of 10, when my mom was in and out of hospital and I was in a new school and there was a teacher who didn't like that I was ADHD and couldn't quite pay attention, I was bullied and I lost the ability to speak. And I had a terrible stutter. And there were things happening in my world that I didn't understand and I couldn't speak about, and I didn't feel I had a voice. And then my mom died, and I thought, she has blessed so many people. She gave, even when she was down on her back, she was doing the best for herself to elevate herself, which is your self-love. I'm stepping into this version of me. But she also gave back to the community. This is who I am. The spirit of paying it forward, because again, when you know that you can trust yourself, when you know that you filled yourself up and you have abundance, it feels like a responsibility to share it. Stepping onto that stage, climbing those stairs, shaking and quaking, I opened my mouth. This show, Waking Hope, is a huge act of self-love to myself to prove that no matter what I have navigated, this is my second foreign country I'm living in. I have had to learn new systems, stepping into discomfort. Dr. Pat, I can drive both sides of the road, both sides of the car, most vehicles, except one of those big trucks. I don't even consider this because I'm always pushing harder for myself to do better, to know better, to release what's holding me back. Mm-hmm. And this is it. Discomfort can feel awful, but you have what you need to step into this.
Yeah, I got to tell you something. I love the idea that we're talking about. And let me just, what's the word? Let me just digress for a minute. Mm-hmm. And because one of the things I do want to talk about is, and this leads into talking about dark matter.
Yes.
One of the things I love is, from a very young age, I was always athletic. I grew up on the streets of New York, and we played stickball from manhole to manhole, right? Mm-hmm. That's what we did. Stickball, handball, anything like that.
Right.
That's out there to entertain ourselves. And as I grew older, it was the same. And there were a couple of sports I really loved. And I remember one of my coaches saying to me, "No pain, no gain."
Yes.
Now, when somebody says that, it's because I was whining. Mm-hmm. Because I just did not want to do that 15th repetition of that bicep thing, right?
Yes. Can you challenge me some more?
And you challenge me some more. But what he went on to say much later, and I've had multiple coaches. I had a table tennis coach, and he would make me run through sand. But what I learned from them is the meaning of that statement. The underpinnings of that is what I want you to talk about, because it is the dark matter that elevates us in strength and resilience, isn't it?
This is it. And Dr. Pat, thank you for this sake, because this is truly where it lies. Dark matter, if we're going into quantum field, we can go scientific, and that's not really the point. For me, it's tapping into endometriosis. I called it my greatest blessing, but also truly a curse, because it has taken me around the world to find an answer. And what I heard instead were awful untruths about myself. I had the trifecta, and we're finding out more. So it wasn't just the endo, I had adeno. The pain was so horrific that I was pretty much in labor every day. I had to count my steps sometimes, and I would fall down from the pain. And I didn't think that there was anything left for me, because I wasn't getting the help I needed, and I was being gaslit. And so I started to meditate, and I started to step into EFT tapping, because I thought somebody out there has to know, because we're all still here. So there has to be an answer. And stepping into meditation in my greatest moments of pain opened up that darkness, because what I was feeling was lighting up with nerve pain, that sharp stabbing, zinging. It was a lot of light that didn't feel good. And I stepped into a different space. And that's when I got the answers, that you have to dive into all of who you are with complete self-acceptance and self-love and self-compassion, because everything that you are up to this point has been accumulated unconsciously, consciously, whatever it is. But if you don't love that inner child, that darkness inside of you, we also call it the shadow. You're doing shadow work. It's the version of us that we hide from the world, that we don't want to show, especially as women. We don't want to say, I am furious right now. And as we've heard in all of these different movies, all these ways of being violently reactive to this fury, because we're not meant to.
Right.
We're not meant to. But as you said, no pain, no gain. If you look at trauma and it cracks you open, and people go, oh, that's how the light gets in. No, honey, that's how the light gets out.
Yeah, that's right.
That's how the light gets out. That's how you recognize your shine. Like, hold on a minute. That's what Eckhart Tolle meant. Suffering is necessary until it's not.
Yeah. It's so fascinating we're talking about this, because I'm really struck. I'm at a point now where I'm really making decisions about, and I can't even believe I'm saying this, because I know there are things that I need to achieve because I want to achieve them in the world. Yes. Now, what does that mean? It means that some of them require me to be as strong as I've almost ever been in my life to do them. And, I really discovered that I'm really at a place in my life where I'm softer than I was back then. And for me to push through and do that extra bicep press right now, I got to be playing Pink Floyd in the background. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yes.
But that's really the point that I want to make now here with everyone, is when they are at this point where they're willing to take that next step, it's not going to be the same for everyone. How do you sing? How do you move? How do you come through life? You may get some things that you do that'll take you out of the comfort zone, but it's not going to be the same for you that it is for me. Isn't this part of what we're doing to really move forward, to make sure the body is taken care of, but also to look at all of it? Lifestyle. What do we want, right?
This is absolutely fundamental, Dr. Pat. When most people are stressing out with anxiety and depression, they're too much in their head. They're too much in a space of being that they're not occupying. We're in the past. We're in the future, instead of being present in the moment. Now, how do you stay present in the moment, especially when you've had multiple surgeries?
Oh
I'm
my
speaking
gosh.
to people right now who have had surgical menopause. They can't go do all of the heavy exercise that they used to. But what are we but stringed instruments? And so when we move, we make a joyful noise. However it is that you move, you can sit in a chair and just literally lift your hands up and down. One of the most beautiful ways I healed my hands when I couldn't move was to do the Japanese technique of just holding the thumb until I felt the pulse, and just saying, I love you.
Mm.
I know that you're going to heal, and I'm here for you. Singing. Now, it wasn't the Tesla Einstein. We are beings. We are vibrating at a certain frequency. This is what we are. We are energy. What does singing do? Even if you're off key, you're vibrating. And what I found with my multiple surgeries is that I was singing and I was breathing up here and trying to breathe down until my body was painful because there were adhesions from inflammation and grief and too many surgeries and not enough time to heal and being too hard on myself. So I found a guru, and the guru said to me, Christine, you need to be like ghee. You need to be as soft as you can. And so I stopped fighting for answers and I started listening. And I gave myself the space. As I sang, as I moved, as I removed, and I moved everything moving around my body. I just want to bring this up because this is not on, but here we go. Professor Masaru Emoto, the Japanese professor, yes, who found that there was emotion in water. He has inspired me to step into all of this, because when you're singing, like, for example, the mantras, there are some that will just make you well up with emotion. Let it go. When you're moving and you're doing the yoga stretches and you feel the pops and the cracks and you hydrate with the right teas and the water that you've chosen, and you're just eating all of these wonderful fruits and vegetables, hydrating your body, and you're moving, what are you doing but releasing emotion that is keeping you stuck?
I'm so glad you brought this up, because there are things that you learn that you wouldn't have learned. Or let me speak for myself. When you decide you're going to go on a healing journey, whatever that is, you have to let go of some of the stories of limitation, if not all of them. One of the stories is, I will never be able to ... again, right? And we've all done it. We've all been there. I mean, I would arrive at Linda's house for a holiday and I couldn't walk up the stairs, and she would have to help me. I want to just give a shot. Let me just do this. I don't mention them enough, but Lou Paradise, the inventor of Topricin, that guy somehow got connected to the show. And I found this topical pain thing, right? Before I found other things that I didn't believe would work until I tried it. I'm telling you, it's like when you come from the world, that can't possibly work. But I would show up at Linda's, we'd have that there. I would literally have to put it all over my body and wrap myself up to go up and down the stairs. Now, but if we don't change the story, we don't even try. We cannot wake hope in the way it needs to be snapped up if we're not willing to change our story even a little bit, right?
This is it, Dr. Pat. And this is one of my big whys. Is so many people along the holidays, they're dealing with a lot, they're questioning themselves, they're getting a little bit of, nasty back because we're all kind of stressed out. They're hearing things about themselves that aren't true, but there is everything you need available. For example, I have magnesium spray, talking about body aches. I didn't think it was possible that you could alleviate diabetic pain with a topical spray. But when we're so stressed out, we're magnesium deficient. And so I learned just through my own self-care when I
love magnesium spray. Oh my God.
Migraines, all of it, just spraying something so simple on really helps you to feel better. It takes away some of that intense pressure. And before you know it, you're stepping into yourself. You're waking that hope, but it's trying something different. You're right. It can't possibly work. Occam's razor, the simplest solution is usually the best.
Oh my God. And right in front of us, look, we're probably going to do a lot of other shows talking about a lot of other things, but you just tapped into something. I do not understand the power of magnesium and magnesium spray. And you see, when you're not well, cramps, oh my God, like there are so many things that we have learned in our dis-ease.
Yes.
But I have to go back to this one thing. Now, I always get asked, Pat, what religion do you practice? I always get asked that. Or I ask, you talk about spirituality. We've heard you talk about Jesus, but then Buddha, Baha'u'llah, and they're like, we heard you talk, but like, what do you do? All right, here's what I want to say. everything and anything I can to help me heal something. It doesn't matter. But there's a story I love. And I don't know how many people know Pastor Joel Osteen. My stepmom was a Southern Baptist, loved his dad. He is the positive pastor. He's also changed some of his views, which I was glad to hear him change, on the LGBT community. But here's what I want to say. When he shares the story about Dodie, his mother, and getting a stage 4 cancer diagnosis 40 years ago and not buying into it for 1 minute and deciding that she was going to pray every day and heal herself, you doctors can't explain that. Isn't that what we're talking about? See, she loved herself enough to love herself beyond her disease.
This is it. This is the power of self-love. And this is the power of tapping into that absolute self-love. But Dr. Pat, how do we get there without self-compassion? How do we get there without self-control? How do we get there when what we want to do is not do the thing that's giving us all of the yuck about ourselves that we believe for too long?
Yeah. Let's talk about control and self-control, because you know what kind of discipline it takes, but it's also the strength of your conviction for you to say every day, and believe me, I did this, for you to say every day, I have got to have a spiritual practice. I don't care if doing my show 14 hours a week back then. It was up until recently, I stopped doing 11 hours a week. But when you are doing a show and you change the direction of it to holistic spiritual, and then you host a show called Interfaith with a pastor, a rabbi, and a Muslim, and you listen to it, it rubs off on you. Isn't that the first step to immerse oneself, or at least start to?
Dr. Brian Weiss is a wonderful author about past life regression. Dr. Pat, this is where meditation has been healing.
Yeah.
What a
great leader. Wow.
What a great leader. And talking about stepping into discomfort. I mean, it took him a while to even publish these books because of his reputation. And as you said, like, how is this possible? But it is. It absolutely is. This is one of the certifications I'm wanting to step into next year. Yeah. This is something I'm wanting to do because my own meditations have taken me not only into my past life, but also into what it is that is affecting my body from my grandparents. My grandparents were in the war.
Yeah. Wow.
And so I have been in meditation with that and felt what they had to do. Growing up in apartheid, beautiful spiritual beings being told to act in such heinous ways towards other people just because of a superficial difference. Right. Yep. So this is the thing that you have to understand. Faith is the magic. Religion is another tool to explain.
Yes.
And if you look at religion, we all come from different parts of the world. We're going to have a little bit of spiciness that's different and a different language.
Yep.
But, and when I was in Sunday school, Jesus loves the little children, red and green and black and white, and all the precious in his sight. This is the self-love. Ubuntu is a word we use in Africa. I am because you are because my life does not work without you. And not just you, Dr. Pat, but every you that's out there.
Yeah.
And this is the self-love, is when I do better, I choose better, I am better. I'm going to take all of this emotion that's coming up, everything that's being triggered, everything that's holding me back in pain. And I promise myself and you, I'm going to navigate this and release what's holding me back, because I don't want to take it out there and hurt someone else with it. I'd much rather be the one that they're seeing, singing in her car, whatever it is, being the vibrant little bit that makes them smile.
Yeah. And I love that we're talking about this. You made me just reflect on something that I learned when it comes to letting go. And funny who I learned it from. Young, growing up at the streets, loved to play ping pong, table tennis. Bad knees, blew my knee out playing fast pitch when I was about 18, I think. And here I am in the table tennis club with a full cast on, and this man is watching me. And beautiful, beautiful, dark man, beautiful. And I'm just playing with my cast, and they're talking about me. Like, what the heck? He walks up to me with a broken accent, and he says, what are you doing? And I just looked at him and I'm like, who's this guy, right? That's what I'm thinking. I said, what do you think I'm doing? I'm practicing. He said, no, what are you doing? And I just looked at him like, okay. He said, what are you doing? I said, well, I'm practicing this one thing because obviously I have a full cast on. And he laughs and he says, I'm going to coach you. Now, this man is Sam Hammond. He is the national and was the national champion of Ghana in Africa. I didn't know he was coaching me in a spiritual way. And this is what we have to remember. Each of us gets touched in life by someone that is coming across from an ethereal and invisible layer of moments to help us. Isn't that what you're doing with people that you touch?
This is exactly why I say this is the greatest act of self-love, Dr. Pat. Whether you hear me for a few minutes or you choose to have a consult or you work with me, I just want you to know that you are loved, that you are worth everything in this world to thrive, because we deserve you. We deserve you. I deserve you and you deserve me. And also, since I do believe in reincarnation, I'm working my little booty off right now to make the world a better place for all of us, because I don't know who or what I'm coming back as next time, but I know I am. I know I am.
Yeah. Christine, please give out your website. Also, please mention the anxiety reduction holiday, the things you're doing. And thank you so much for today. It's not the last you're going to hear of Christine on my show, but also tell people how they can watch you as well. Go ahead. Thank you so much.
Wonderful. So Waking Hope, please tune in every second and fourth Thursday of the month, 8 a.m. Pacific, 10 a.m. Central, 11 Eastern. I love that I can go across all these different timelines.
I love that you can remember it.
Oh, this is the thing, Dr. Pat, when you let go of things that are crushing your brain space, you have so much more room to tell that brain fog to fog off. So this is the wonderful thing. Go to www.beingbetterme.com. I've got free downloads for you. I've got some wonderful clean self-care products, by the way. This is going to enhance your life. I've got some fantastic things that are gifts. endo.coach.christine on Instagram, Facebook Being Better Me. If you want to text me, 706-397-5801. And just remember, you deserve stepping into the best version of you, the Better Me empowered version of you today. Do not wait a minute longer. You deserve it. We deserve it. And we encourage and love and support you every step of the way.
Thank you so much for being the person you are and from helping all of us become that Better Me empowered. Thank you for reminding us of our innate ability. And thank you for joining me on the show today, Christine.
Thank you, Dr. Pat. It's been such a pleasure. I can't wait to speak further with you. Thank you for
Oh my gosh, I can't wait either. I want to thank all of you out there for tuning in. I want to thank you so much for being the best audience on the planet. And you know, we are really revving up to really support you, as Christine has done amazingly. Please go visit her site. Shout out to Jacob. Thank you for doing all the right things and pushing all the right buttons. And remember, as you go forward today, just pick one thing today, just one thing that will allow you, enable you, and empower you to show yourself some love. We'll see you next time.